funky. What's going on? Recording December 3rd will be released December 4th. This third podcast of this little mini series that I'm doing for your pleasure. This is Andrew. Glad you're listening and tuning in and all that kind of good stuff. Just do a little beginning business. If you guys haven't tested out Audible yet, you guys need to give that a shot. Audible's got a free trial that I mentioned from time to time. Okay, every time, where they give you a free book just to try them out. And if you don't like it, you can cancel within a month and you'll be charged nothing. And for me, actually, I was talking about this book over here, Crush It with Gary Vaynerchuk. It's not a parenting book or anything like that. It's just a guy I like to follow on the interwebs. It's called Crush It. And I had a hard time having the time to actually sit down and read it. So what I did is I just went ahead and got it on Audible, and I've started to go through the audio version of it. The really cool thing is, and this guy's a crack up anyways, but he will literally he'll be reading the book to you, the author will read the book to you, and then they'll be like, okay, let me veer off this real quick, and he'll actually just go off script and add some more relevant information there, because I think he recorded it much later than he wrote it. So he's like, okay, well, some of this stuff's changed. So, anyways, he reiterates it and changes some things. It was just kind of cool to hear. And also, if you guys want some other cool entertainment that's a little edgy, I would say go to adventureamigos.net. They do reviews on video games, and if you're like a gamer dad, that's probably a good place to go, because they've got a lot of intelligent guys there, giving reviews on movies and games. It's a geek paradise, if you ask me. And then they just got some entertainment shows where I think it's Spoder and Spoder. They're just a high energy couple of guys that you may hear some swearing in there, so I just so be forewarned on that one. But they got some other shows. You just got to go to the website and check it out, read some of their blogs and articles and their podcasts and all that kind of stuff. They even do it live too. So yeah. Anyways, so I did say it was going to be released on December 4th, 2013, and there's an old debate that seems to come up. I think we discussed it last year with the whole real tree, fake tree, and I can't remember what we had. I think I actually got my fake tree last year, and during the podcast conversation, my wife just had enough of the real tree stuff, and when that happened, it broke up a tradition that we had, just like I had with my family, of going down to a tree, the little tree areas you buy your tree from, picking out the right tree, loading it up, bringing it in, pain in the butt, but just got to put it on the stand, and then, you go on and decorate and whatnot. And now we go upstairs, open a box, pull out 3 pieces of a tree, connect all the poles, and there's already lights in it, and we just plug it in. And I'll be honest with you, I thought I was going to be the only one upset about it. My kids are like, this is, basically saying, this is bull. Like, they want to go and get a tree. My son in particular had some words to say about it with my wife, in regards to his dislike of pulling a tree out of a box. But listen, if your family is split and you haven't purchased that fake tree yet, and you're the one that wants the real tree, you need to hold out as long as you can. I mean, if you can just postpone until next year or the year after, because once you get the fake tree, dude, it's over. I mean, there's no getting a new tree. I mean, at least not in this household. So hang on, brother. Fight the tough fight, and keep buying the trees that are real. Just do it. All right. Okay, that's my Christmas rant for today. So, today's episode, I'm going to go over some stories in the news that you may have missed. You know, the funny thing is a lot of the news stories regarding parents and dads, as I was skimming through my feed of information that I find relevant to this topic, it was either news feeds that were focused on overprotective parents, or it was a news story regarding a school. It was like one or the other, like, and it's kind of a trend. Now that I think about it, it's I don't know why, but that just seems to be what happens. So, one of the first news stories is my wife actually found this one for me, and she's like, "Did you get that? Did you get that news article I sent to you on Facebook?" And I was like, "No, I didn't get that." She's like, "Well, then you're just going to have to look at it on my Facebook because I can't send it to you." And so I was like, "All right." So it's 11 o'clock at night. And I'm like, "All right, let me look at this article." And so I start to read the article, and to kind of summarize it for you, there's this school in Tennessee. And apparently there's this really unreasonable way of picking up children there, where they have some kind of rule to where you can either pick up your kid can either go home via vehicle or via bus. And a parent came in and he's like, "Look, I want to walk my kids home from school." And they're like, "No, you can't. You have to pick them up via car." And I guess the traffic is horrendous, and it like takes forever to get their kids. It's just some weird setup. I'm not there. I don't know for sure. But the short of it is this man wanted to pick up his kids. School was out. He wasn't trying to pick them up early. School was out. He says, basically, "I'm here to pick up my kids." They were telling him to leave and go get his car and come back. It was redonkulous, right? And so the wife clicks on the video camera on her phone or whatever and starts recording what's happening. And the man is very civil, but there's a man, there's the office lady for the school office, and there was a sheriff's officer who's probably there every day. I don't know why. I just got the feeling that he's just maybe the school officer in that area. And that officer was pissed off at this guy. The fact that he was going to break the rules, this redonkulous rule, by the way, of him not, he walked there and he wanted to pick up his kids. And so the dad was very civil. The wife, who was videotaping, didn't say a word. He was just like, "Look, this is going to get changed. And look, the rules say that you are to release my children to me after school is over." And the cop was so pissed off about the fact that he was challenging not only the cop, but this vague random rule of you can't pick up your kids via foot. He's like, the cop responds and says, "Yeah, but we don't say when you can pick up your kids after school ends." And the parent responds and says something to the effect of, "Yes, I do know when." It says in a reasonable time, which is essentially 15 minutes. And basically the man was sitting there and just saying, I'm going to get my kids. I'm not going to argue with you, officer. I'm going to get my kids." And the officer was like, "You know what? That's it. You're going to jail." the man wasn't threatening him. He wasn't yelling at him. Quite frankly, I thought he was quite reasonable. And this cop just did not like what was unfolding. The fact that he had made mention that he didn't like being videotaped. And then I think later he even mentioned he was going to arrest the lady for videotaping him on school property. Something silly. The guy was just, in my opinion, they probably knew each other, but he was pissed off how it was going down, and he was just going to arrest that dude. And then so they videotaped the man getting arrested, and he'd even asked if he could give his wife the house keys so she could get into the house when it was time to go home. And the cop for a second was like, "Nope," like just being unreasonable. I'll be honest with you. I'll be surprised if, I'm not saying you need to fire a guy, but it was there. I am pro cop. Don't get me wrong. My brother's a cop. I have very good friends that are police officers. I have nothing against cops, but cops are human just like everybody else, and they're going to be stupid sometimes. And some cops don't need to be in positions of authority, especially when they can't keep their cool. And I don't know, just unbiased opinion here, just watching the video, that guy probably can't seem to hold us cool enough in that situation. Maybe he doesn't need to have that job. If I was to take a drastic position on it, I was just surprised that the guy got arrested. I mean, really, I think that cop took it a bit too far. I'm going to put a link in the post on the American Dad Podcast at americandadpodcast.com, and you can link to the video where you can see the whole thing unfold. It's going to be just like I told you. And here's another thing. This is kind of where I get into, I don't think just because someone makes a rule or a law that it's the smartest thing. Just because a government entity or even a school decides to do something, it doesn't mean that it's right. If you can't pick up your kids via foot, I think this is very unreasonable. There was no common sense, especially when the cop couldn't sit there and go, you know what, yeah, you're right. That is a silly rule. Yes, you can pick up your children. They're his damn children. What are you gonna do? Not let him pick up his kids? Well, they're just gonna sit there all day? Come on, let's not be stupid, okay? So, yeah, and I think I actually got one of the last podcasts with the other guys, my brother and Luco, was on this very, same kind of thing of a stupid rule that I think, or a stupid thing that a school was implementing, which was tracking their kids. Just because they're doing it doesn't mean it's okay or should be okay. I just think, if you haven't learned not to trust the government or government entities and think for yourself, then I don't know what to tell you because, I think this country is a prime example. I mean, we're very split. Whether it be Republican or Democrat, either way, one side or the other thinks the government's doing something stupid at one point or another, right? So I think that proves my point. Game over. You're welcome. Anyways, I was scanning through some more articles. That was my first one. I thought that one was interesting in itself. The next one that I thought, let's see here. Another one that I thought was interesting, it was kind of a cross because I might be talking about this on my other podcast, is that private investigators are tracking rowdy teens and parents are hiring them. Parents are hiring private investigators to keep an eye on their teenagers to see what they're up to. And this young private investigation couple, I think the wife's 24 and I think they're a husband and wife. Anyways, they're getting hired by these parents to follow the kids, and they've got the video cameras and whatnot. And the parents just want to make sure their kids aren't doing anything stupid. Making sure they're not doing drugs and going to parties and whatnot. And this is in the UK, by the way. These private investigators will follow them with covert video cameras and they'll follow them all the public places except until they hit private property, and then they have to break off. Or can't go in there. They have to stay outside. What do you guys think of this? I mean, is this going a little bit too far? I mean, is it only going too far if the kids find out? Is it being an overprotective parent? I mean, I don't know. Actually, I don't even know where I stand on this because, I want my kids to be safe and I want them to make smart decisions. And I know sometimes you're just going to have to let your kids, when they hit that age to be like, all right, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to follow you around? Either you're going to make a smart decision, or stupid decisions, when you're teenagers. But, I mean, you can't help. I mean, if you have those resources, if you can spend the money to do it, like, just to kind of have peace of mind during, times, your kid's going to be out with their friends or something. I don't know. This might be a new thing. It might catch on. Maybe it's already caught on. I mean, I've never been hired for it, but, if you want to know if your kid's lying to you, why not? At least 1 or 2 days of surveillance just to find out if they are going where they're, really saying. And if they are, then you've got, okay, you know what? My kids, maybe I'm raising my kid right on, or if they're lying to you, then you're like, oh, I need to have a heart-to-heart with my kid. Who knows, or maybe I need to tighten that leash or whatever it is. So I thought it was really interesting. And that article came from the dailytelegraph.com or the Telegraph. A lot of good articles come out of that publication. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Let's see here. The next article you might be interested in is by CBS News, and they talk. Remember I told you about the helicopter parents or the other one. So this article says helicopter parents make fat kids or kids fat. What new studies say? And then this article goes on to say that there was a study done of kids who were at a park, and they classified them as active or moderately active or vigorously active. And they watched the social outcome of what was happening when they were playing with their friends in the park, just friends, and parents were at a distance. And when they played around their parents. So what they basically figured out was the kids seemed to be a little more active when the parents were a little bit further away from them. I don't know. I mean, maybe they were sitting on a park bench and the kids were, who knows, 100 yards from them playing with just their friends versus in the immediate vicinity of their parents. And they believe in the study that it was because the parents were basically kind of hovering over them and not letting them do as many things, that would maybe endanger them. Now, I can see how this could be true, but I could also see it be like your parents are in the vicinity and they're saying, "Hey, Johnny, knock that off." And the kids are getting in trouble because they're doing something that maybe they're hurting another kid, or maybe they're, roughing up another kid. I mean, there could be a variety of things of what the kids are doing or playing, throwing sand or whatever, and they're being corrected, and therefore not being able to do everything they would maybe do without parent supervision. And so, I mean, I think that's natural. I don't think it's by far going to cause. I mean, come on. Seriously, they're already out of parks. They're getting exercise. Is it really contributing to obesity? What? Because they're running at 90 miles an hour, not 100 miles an hour? I mean, let's not get silly here. I swear to goodness that people, first of all, they want to use those special words of helicopter parents or hovering parents. Gosh, there was like 3 or 4 of them I had heard. Bulldozer parents was another one, I think. It's just... I think it's just to get eyes on the actual article. I think because this is silly. This is silly in my opinion. I don't think that. I think it was good for the parents to take the kids to the park to begin with. So let's start there. Why don't we praise the parents for doing that, for getting their kids out there, rather than criticize that they maybe are correcting their kids. And they're trying to spin it around to saying, oh, they're not letting them be as reckless and careless. Well, I don't want my kids to get hurt either. So, that's how kids learn when parents teach them stuff sometimes. Well, they learn on their own too, yes. But, hey, Johnny, don't jump off the top of that building. You're going to get hurt. Or, hey, let me go jump off the top of this building real quick to see if I get hurt or not. Let's use that advice from the parents. Okay, that's enough of that one. I will have that one, the link to that posted. There is no video. There is just, just pictures of a park and some kids. So we went over that. We did the PI follows teenagers. We did the dad arrested over nothing. And so the final one, again, is where I think schools take it a little bit too far. And it was, for me, I don't understand why they did what they did, because it looked like they were let me just get into the story. How about I just do that before I start talking about all this other stuff. It says Yahoo on this. I read this on Shine, on Yahoo Shine. I'm actually starting to really like Yahoo, and I'll explain more about that in a second. It says parents enraged after school tampers with student's cell phone. So here's the situation. There's a student at this middle school. I think it's called R.A. Brown Middle School in Hillsboro, can't even say that, Oregon. So they have this rule that apparently you can't wear a hat. Maybe it's during class hours or just in general. I'm not quite sure. Either way, 20 years later, the schools still have hat rules. They've had hat rules for a very long time. This is nothing new. Well, this kid, and they show a video of different parts of this kid wearing a hat, where the parents have told them to take it off, and he is acting like an idiot. He's waving his arms around. He jumps up to the top of the stands that aren't open, mind you. He climbed them they were pushed into the wall, and he climbed them to the top so the teachers couldn't have access to him. The teachers tried to kind of surround him. There's only two that I could tell, and they're both women. To get him under control, and he was just acting like an idiot, like way out of control. I mean, and what inevitably happened was he was arrested and suspended from school. Okay, so that's the situation, right? Looking at the video, teachers were totally in the right, did what they could do. Kid was out of control, needed to get out of there, right? That's just, I mean, really, it was over the top. Kid deserves a spanking. So, why all this was happening, while this little chaos was happening, well, kids have cell phones and they're allowed to use them before and after school. Well, or I think, I don't know, maybe their lunch or whatever, but not during class time. So we all these kids have smartphones, and how they can afford them is beyond me, but they have them. And, these kids start shooting film. They start rolling film of this kid acting like an idiot. And whatever inevitably happened is, after it was all said and done, the teachers went and confiscated those phones with the kids that had videotaped. They confiscated all the phones. And then they started deleting the video on the phones. Why? I have no idea. Well, there was only one girl, I guess, left that that they hadn't erased it from, and the mother got there, got to the school and stopped them from erasing anything on her phone. Well, the girl had got her phone back. She could tell that the teachers had gone through her instant messages, her emails, and they were trying to see if the video had been sent anywhere. And like I said, they were going to delete her video as well, but only because her mom was there did it stop. Let's see here. The representative from the school commented, gave them some kind of section about their search and seizures in a handbook, right? Of the student handbook. It says building administrators may search the person, personal property, and student vehicles and seize property deemed dangerous and detrimental to the safety and welfare of the students and staff. However, the article writes, there were no rules about whether the school can destroy property. Once more, the students use their cell phones. They're allowed to use their cell phones before class began the day, which the person told the station. Here's the thing. When you destroy evidence, that arises suspicion as to whether you did something wrong, even though, in my opinion, just based off the video alone, they didn't do anything wrong. They were just trying to wrangle in a knucklehead student. And even the mother on there was like, she could barely say how her kid was acting out about it. All she could say was, that's really suspicious that they would erase that. Yeah, probably it does seem, and it makes it seem like they were doing something wrong when they weren't doing anything wrong. So it kind of goes back to how much power do you give the teachers in that kind of sense? Like, is that okay? Is the school condoning, or is the school all a part of just erasing that, that data, that evidence? I say no. I mean, the kids didn't do anything wrong. The kids videotaping did nothing wrong. They were just merely documenting what was happening. I do that for a living. You just document what's happening. Actually, this even made the news. It just didn't make an article. It made a local television news story which will also be on the article that I link you guys to. I think there's such a thing as too much power. In well, as I've already said, like, government and even schools. Now, we need to empower our teachers to do a lot of things. But sometimes I think, and schools in general, but sometimes I just think they take it a little bit too far. And maybe they start with a rule in like their heart's in the right place. And then they just take it a little bit too far to where you're taking the rights away from, well, not only kids, but adults, as we've read about earlier. I don't know, something to ponder and think about. I don't know. I wish I could just, I wish the answer was as black and white as I could, look at it. But I can't look at it that way because, usually rules are made because something bad happened and somebody overreacts to a situation and, then it gets ridiculous, but whatever. Anyways, this is podcast number 3. We discussed some very important events today. And this will go in the hopper for December 4th, 2013, or 3 days in a row. I appreciate you guys for tuning in again. I don't know. I like catching you guys up on news. I think it's important. I don't have cable. I've mentioned that before. So, I always get these like, it's like a feed, like with keywords, so I can kind of see what's going on in the news regarding dads and parenting and overprotective parents and things like that. And I use it for ideas and blog ideas and things like that. So I think I'm going to do some more of this so you guys can stay up to date. I'm very opinionated on things in general. These aren't always popular opinions, but as you probably heard over the past 2 other podcasts that I've just done, I've always got something to say about something, always, and that's just how it is. So, thank you guys for listening. I want to hear what you guys have to say about something. I want you guys could do me a favor. If you're enjoying the show, go to iTunes and go ahead and give this show a rating. I'd appreciate 5 stars if you think it's worthy of that. If not, that's okay too. I just be honest. Just rate it at what you think it is. I'd love to have higher rankings so this show could be found by more people. And what else could you guys do for me? You guys could comment and go to the contact page and just tell me what kind of stuff you're interested in hearing about. Tell me a situation that you think needs to be discussed. I'm interested in hearing about it. So, all right, guys and gals, I want you guys to have a great day, and I will probably be recording tomorrow the 4th day's podcast tomorrow. So that's about it. And this is the part where in the podcast you're driving down the road and you're just kind of shaking your hips a little bit, or maybe just bobbing your head. You're like, what stupid things is he going to say next? I don't know. Anyway, if you guys like to watch videos rather than hear the podcast, you guys don't know about it already. I post videos of the podcast on AmericanDadPodcast.com. Sometimes you have a smartphone. Sometimes you're sitting in your car where you're waiting to, in line somewhere. Watch the video. I post little pictures over here sometimes on the side of me, the left side of me. It just kind of gives you some reference to what I'm talking about. Sometimes it's entertaining. Sometimes it's not. All right, guys. Have a good one. Talk to you later. Hey, thanks again for watching the video. I would highly recommend going down there and clicking that subscribe button. There's a ton of videos always coming out. Sometimes they're podcast videos, sometimes they're review videos, sometimes they're tip videos, you name it. I'm making videos. So if you would, just go ahead and click that button. Did you click it yet? No? Is your mouse broken? Are you using one of those touch pads? Listen, I don't have all day, but I can sit here a little bit longer if you want. All right then. Awkward. Thanks for watching.